brought from the federal government back to the university. I mean, that is huge for our university. It's also about the private-public partnerships. I mean, our university has an agreement with Rush Presbyterian Hospital up in Chicago, and these partnerships, they help further not only education but the economic development. We have a huge research park here, and it's growing every day. Our research park takes ideas that professors and students have, and it gives them an incubator to start their company up. And we need to expand that. I think the university does a great job. It's just keeping the funding coming.
Thank you. We'll start with Erica for this question. Terry Bush of Champaign asks, which, in your view, is the higher priority? Serving your constituents or serving your party?
Constituents. I think when you look at the way our founders founded our government, there's a reason why this is the representative branch of government. It's different from the Senate, it's different from any other branch of government. And the goal and the focus is representing your constituents and their interests. While you certainly have firmly held convictions upon which you stand, you have to also represent a humility and the fact that there are people who are counting on you to be their advocate and their ambassador each and every day. So for me, that's a very easy one. It's the constituents.
I also agree. It has to be the constituents, because these are the people out there that you're representing. I've already told the party chairman that because I'm from a business perspective, I understand structure. And I'm not going to go to Washington and base my votes on how many yeses and no calls I've got. That is not the way you do business. What I want to do is I want to utilize these party chairmen and other people who are willing to step up and say, hey, let's hear from the people. I want to call down and I want to say, what are we thinking? And maybe those precinct committeemen, they go to their precincts and they say, you have an ability to have a voice now. What do you think? And I've already been asking people that I trust and know in education and in farming and jobs, in employment, to say, would you be a person on a board? I'd like to see grassroots boards. When I say grassroots, I don't mean lobbyists. I don't mean people watching. I mean people here. What is your problem? What do you need? Let's talk about it. And then they send that up to Washington, and we have a dialogue going back and forth. I don't know about you, but I've called my representatives, and they've been like, we're sorry, he's already made up his mind. And that's not acceptable. We're going to have a flowing conversation, and I'm going to work for you. And I guarantee you, when I get up there, I'm going to do it one time for one term. And then like Chris Christie said, I'll let you know if you go back. You'll let me know if you go back. I'm not going to be presumptuous to say I'm doing 2 or 3 or 4 terms. That's presumptuous. My job, my contracts, I have to earn them every year. I will earn your respect every year.
I well agree, it is constituents, but I cannot think of any better way to put the constituents first than with our Republican principles that we stand on. So with limited government and things like that, it's just, I think that is the best way to put the constituent first, is by our Republican principles.
I believe there's no reason why we can't answer that question by saying both. It's the Republican Party and the committeemen and the constituents that send you to Washington to put the high priority on the constituents. Now, there's nobody here on this stage that has served as many constituents as I have over the 16-year career working for a member of Congress. I've got a friend here, Doug Wilson, who called me one Saturday morning. He said, my son is in Spain on an exchange program. You know what? He's in the hospital in intensive care. It just so happened Doug was renewing his passport at the time. Doug was a presidential appointee during the Bush administration. He could have called anybody that Saturday to try and help him. He called me. I often wondered why. But you know what? That Monday, Doug was in Chicago getting a passport, and that afternoon, he was on a plane to Spain to take care of his son. That's the importance of constituent service. Any one of you called me on a Saturday, you would have gotten the same response.
Thank you. We'll move on to questions about the economy. And Kathy, you'll start, please. Bill Lawless of Champaign asks, how would you articulate the critical need to sharply reduce the federal debt in a way that would motivate all voters to